Welcome to a Life Under Construction podcast. I'm your host, Rhoda Daniel, and once again, I'm happy to have you with me today. Thank you for tuning in. Whether you are listening or watching on YouTube, I am extremely grateful for each and every one of you. I had a very sleep deprived week, and I do not function on less sleep. However, I am still excited about this podcast because what's better than sitting here in my own room on a very comfy chair, talking to you about topics that are very close to my heart, topics that I believe will enable us to live the lives we were meant to live. Today's topic is purpose. Everything has a purpose. This camera has a purpose to record this video. A phone has a purpose to connect us to other people. A car has the purpose of taking us from one place to another. Everything has a purpose, including human beings, including you, including me. But the question is, do we believe that? And if we do we know what our purpose is? So let's start with question number one. Do you believe that you have a purpose? Do you think that there is a reason for your existence? If you don't believe you have a purpose, let me tell you today that you do. Your existence on this earth is not an accident. You are here for a reason. You are alive for a reason because life doesn't make sense otherwise. If an inanimate object like a phone or a camera can have a purpose, don't you think that us human beings with a brain, with skills and talents, with abilities and gifts won't have a purpose? Of course we do. Of course you do. And if nobody has told you that before, let me be the one to tell you again that you have a purpose. We all, at the end of the day, want our lives to matter, don't we? We want people to remember us by how we treated them, by how we made them feel, by what we did. We want to leave a legacy when we die. But somehow, in the routine of things, this search for purpose and the desire to live out our purpose gets missed out. It gets put on the back burner. Some of you might not really believe that you have a purpose, or maybe you believed it at one point of time, but now life has gotten in the way. We need to focus on our immediate needs: food, clothing, shelter, finances, success, career. And in that process, we become a little complacent about finding out what our purpose is. Who has the time? And honestly, who cares? Well, I care. I care because I know without a shadow of a doubt that life is not about being born into this world, getting an education, building a career, starting a family, achieving success, and then dying, leaving behind all the wealth and success that we have accumulated because we can't take it with us anyway. There is so much more to life than that. There is a deeper longing within each and every one of us for something more meaningful, something that will give us that satisfaction. If we do not take that time to fulfill that longing, to satisfy that longing, then my question is, are we truly living? I have had at different times of my life a wrestle with that longing in my own heart. It was maybe a few years ago that I was sitting at my office. On the outside, my life seemed perfect. I had a good job. I was earning well. I had a good family. I had a house to live in. I had a car to drive. I had friends who loved me. I had everything that a person would want. But still, I felt something was lacking. Was I being ungrateful? No, I don't think so. I was very grateful for the privileged situation I was in, but I still knew that there was something more that my soul longed for. And I sat there in my office. It was towards the end of the year, and I looked at the emails I was constantly sending, and I was like, is this it? Is this gonna be my life? Is this what I was born to do? And as I was going through that existential crisis in my head at work, one of my colleagues walked into my room and he was talking about a situation that he had been in, and he was just reflecting on that, and he was sharing that he was in a very dire situation, and my father had helped his family, had helped him in that situation, and he was just sharing his gratitude for that. And when he was sharing this, as he was talking about this, he had tears in his eyes, and I looked at him and I realized that this is why we do this. It is not about the success. It is not about the job. It is not about power. It is not about glory. It is about people. It is about serving, helping, supporting, encouraging people. It's not about the computer and the emails and the calls and the documents. It's about the people you get to interact with in your daily life. I believe all of us might have faced this type of existential crisis where you wondered, what's the purpose of my life? Why am I alive? What am I supposed to contribute to this world? We've thought about it, it's crossed our mind. We've maybe spent some time ruminating over it, but again, life gets in the way. We suppress the thought, we ignore it because there are better things to do. We sometimes don't even get that thought because we're so busy and we are so surrounded by noise, and we don't give ourselves the space to think about the fact or the question that, am I truly happy? Am I truly satisfied? Am I proud of the life that I'm living? Am I fulfilled in the life that I'm living? Is there more that I want out of this life? Is there more that I could do that would make me more excited about life? If we do not take the time to think about these things and find answers to these things, I'm afraid we are living half lives. We are not living the abundant life that we were called to live, the life that gives us satisfaction, fills our day with meaning. I think you all want that life, but it takes effort to build that life. But we put a lot of effort on so many things. And I said this in the last podcast as well, that when you know the value of something, why wouldn't you put an effort to get that thing? There are others who are listening to this podcast who definitely know that you have a purpose. You've been told that, you believe that, you know in your heart that your life was meant for something more, that there are certain things that give you more meaning, more satisfaction, and you are constantly seeking that. But you haven't actually figured out what your purpose is. Maybe you tried, maybe you didn't think you had a particular set of talents and you got frustrated and you gave up. Maybe you're still seeking and you clicked on this podcast because you wanted answers. Well, I was just like you. I knew from an early age that my life had purpose, that I was born for a reason, I'm in this world for a reason. That was taught to me, and I knew it in my heart. But I didn't have any distinct talent or a distinct contribution that I could make to the world that I could see. I wasn't the best artist. I wasn't the best writer. I wasn't the best dancer. I wasn't the best singer. I wasn't the best at playing any instrument. I wasn't the best at sports. So I felt I was average or below average, that I didn't have that gift that you see people have, that talent that you see people have, where you look at them and know for sure that, oh, that's their purpose. They're so good at it that that is their purpose in life. I didn't have that. And so I used to keep seeking and striving and trying to see, what is my contribution going to be to this world, because I didn't feel like I had anything to contribute. And that led to a lot of frustration, a lot of disappointment when I was like, what on earth am I here for? It was only when I started looking around me that I started seeing what I could do where I was. And I think that is one of the biggest lessons if you are seeking for your purpose is start where you are. Just look around where you are. Because again, where you were born, the family you were born into, the city you were born in, the circumstances you were born in, the country you were born in, the time of history you were born in is not a mistake. You were born for such a time as this. So that means that your purpose begins where you are. So when you start looking around you, you start asking the question, what can I do here, right now, in this place? You can find ways to find fulfillment right where you are. Look at your family, look at your neighbors, look at your community. These are all places where you can find your purpose. If you are a mother, raising good citizens of the world is a purpose. If you are a team leader, empowering people to become better at what they do is a purpose. If you are a teacher, giving students hope is a purpose. So, wherever you are, whatever career you are in, you can find your purpose over there. There's this saying that the grass is greener on the other side, and my dad always says the grass is green right under your feet. We just don't look there. We try to look at other people's life. We start comparing, oh, that person is doing so many different things. What if I do that? No. Their journey is different. Your journey is different. We are all unique. We are all very distinct. And the minute we start comparing our journeys, we can get lost because we're not actually living the lives we were meant to live. When I looked around at my life, I looked at my workplace, I looked at the community around me, I looked at the skills I did have, and I started using those things. That is when I slowly found my purpose, and that is to help people live the lives they were meant to live. You don't need to do something big to live out your purpose. Purpose can be something so small, but so impactful. I remember a few years back, there is this village, tribal village in a remote area in Tamil Nadu, the state I currently live in, where we as a family have a trust which serves the differently abled community over there. And it's a very small village with very few people. And we have created a center where these differently abled kids can be brought and be taught certain things, be able to get physiotherapy. And my parents make it a point to go there every month to meet the parents, to meet the kids. Now, this is a community of people who speak a language that I'm not very fluent in. But yet, I wanted to go there and I started going there. But I always wondered, what's my contribution here? And so I was sitting there one day thinking, I'm here, I'm taking the time to visit, I'm not really able to communicate with them. So, what am I doing here? And on that day, there was this girl who just came to me and started like hugging me. And I just hugged her back, and she was sitting on my lap, and I just sat with her. And as I just sat there hugging her, I realized that that was my contribution, the hug. Because these are kids who are often treated badly by their own family members because they're differently abled. The community sometimes ostracize them. They don't get that kind of love or physical touch that other kids get. So even if I don't speak the language, even if I can't communicate anything to them and they can't communicate back to me, my being there and my just sitting there, hugging them and letting them hug me was my contribution. Does that fulfill my purpose? Yes, because that helps them live the life they were meant to live. That gives them a sense of being loved, being respected, having an identity that is not tied to their disability. So, wherever you are, you don't have to do this big thing to live out your purpose. Even the smallest way, wherever you are, if you are impacting the lives of people, that's living out your purpose. And if that gives you fulfillment and satisfaction, that's enough. So I've realized that purpose is not a goal that you set for yourself or an attainment that you need to get for yourself. It is not seeking power or glory. It is about others. It is about serving others. Purpose is about making the lives of the people around us better. It is about leaving the world better than we found it. It is about making our mark in this world. It is about leaving a legacy that is so much bigger than our achievements. It is more about who we are and how we are serving people. It is only when we turn our attention outward that we find true fulfillment, true happiness. I have tried this, and therefore I can sit here today and tell you all about it. But if you try it, you will know exactly what I'm talking about. If you're still listening, I hope and pray that you recognize that you have a purpose and that you awaken to what that purpose is. Because when you do that, your life will become all it was meant to be, beautiful and abundant. If you want to continue this conversation, you can write to me at write to us at alifeunderconstruction.com. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can comment down below, and you can also follow me on Instagram at alifeunderconstruction. Thank you for listening, and I will see you again next week with another topic that I hope will help you live the life you were meant to live.